Alright, welcome back. Now seems like a good time to talk Wizards of the Coast, because we're going to be sitting here for a while.
So, Wizards of the Coast.
Yep. Hold on. For those who don't know, are the people that make Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering.
It's a dumpster fire. Let's just start with that. So, recently has been the 30-year anniversary of Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. That's cool. What did they do? Oh, they charged $1,000 for 60 random cards.
Yeah. Which, as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I find really funny because of the fact that, like, Konami is notorious for being money-grubby and obnoxious to its community, and we just had a 25 anniversary set.
I heard about this. That was amazing.
$30 fucking.
And it's like 6 guaranteed cards.
It's like 6 guaranteed, like a super rare cards.
A booster, like
6
booster packs. I thought about buying one myself because I was just like,
I might buy one because, and I don't even play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, and I might buy one because it's just such a good deal. And they're all competitive tournament legal cards. Unlike Magic the Gathering, none of which can be played in tournaments and exist solely for collector value.
Yeah, and you can't even collect them and use them. It's like the greatest thing ever.
It is nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
The dumbest thing I think I've ever seen a company do, ever.
So it is a mess. So they did that, released that, and, you know, they've been overprinting Magic and all this for a while. And people asked, "What's going on with this? Hey, can you guys like slow down or something?"
And they were like,
"Yeah, pretty much." They said that.
Yep.
They said, "Well, if you don't like it, don't engage with the products you don't like."
Ah, dude, that's my favorite. That's the movie argument too. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And then no one watches, and they're just like, "How dare you not watch this movie?"
So that was something they said, right? So now people are stopping.
Yep.
Engaging with the products because, you know, they don't like it, so they're not going to engage with it.
Yep.
Oh boy. And now what just recently came out is they were starting to produce a new thing of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
Like a new edition, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But what we found out was they're going to change what's called the Open Game License, which has been around since 2000. Pretty much.
Yep.
Which is basically what made it so a lot of different companies were able to make like tabletop games.
Also, just a side note. Are they going to change the open game license name to the closed game license? Because it's completely what they're doing.
Oh, it is definitely a closed license. You have to basically give them so much.
Like,
this is what made it so what is it called? Pathfinder, which is like the competitor to Magic, with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Kind of what made them be able to become a thing.
Yes.
And it's kind of a mess right now. And what they're going to say is they're like, oh, we want 25% of all your revenue you make from whatever.
Yeah.
Depending on how high, air quotations, how high your revenue is. Which they can arbitrarily change that whenever they want. All they have to do is give you a 30-day notice.
Great.
And they have complete access to everything you make using their license.
Sounds about right.
Which is just absolutely insane.
See, what I dig about it is the fact that it's so vague and so open-ended, what could be considered using the open game license, that literally anything could be considered using the open game license.
I mean, all those streaming things.
It's so vague. It could, though it might not, but it could incorporate streams of Dungeons and Dragons, or even just videos of people playing Dungeons and Dragons as part of the open game license.
Well, tell me who. I'll find him.
Nothing says how to kill a fan base as quickly as nickel and diamond people for every goddamn cent they own.
So a part of the reason that this is all seems to be happening is, I don't know if it's Hasbro's CEO or Dungeons and Dragons Wizards of the Coast's CEO.
Yeah.
One of those CEOs is a former person from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't explain enough, I'll go into further detail. They want microtransactions, a tabletop role-playing game.
Yeah,
which
everyone does.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
They probably won't even micro... I mean, you say...
Oh, they're trying to.
No, here's the thing with this. One, that game is already microtransactions. Because you buy stupid little figures, and then you buy more stupid little figures. It's always been microtransactions. However, I don't even think, as much as he says they're going to make it microtransactions, they don't want to make it microtransactions. I don't even think they're going to make it microtransactions. What they want to do is make it a subscription-based service.
No, that's what they're trying to do.
Which is the point of changing the open game license, because now they can charge people essentially a subscription fee
for using
their idea.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people in the tabletop community that are already jumping ship, because if this was an early draft, even then, this just shows to the lengths that they'll go.
Yeah, it's...
Which, I'm like,
hilarious.
It makes sense, because it's a corporate company. You really don't think a corporate company is going to do this?
I don't think Wizards of the Coast is going to make it.
No.
I really don't.
Okay.
I think they'll make it in spirit. Like the Naruto card game. People know it exists. They remember it. Some people even know how to play it. But, like, no one wants to play it anymore. No. The vast majority of people have never heard of it.
So, a buddy of mine has one of the largest has the largest Magic the Gathering page on Facebook. Mm-hmm. He's the creator and the admin of it.
Yeah.
And he was telling all his mods, his moderators on that page, do not go to bat for Wizards of the Coast on the 30-year anniversary thing.
Yeah. Because, like, why should you?
He's like, we don't need to do that. They have their own ability to do that. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is wrong. So don't go to bat for them. And he was telling me, and this is a guy who's, one of his big things that he does is Magic the Gathering. Yeah. Even he was just like, I'm staying away from Magic the Gathering for a while because I don't like the direction they're going. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him about this with the Magic the Gathering, the D&D thing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Because, it's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
Sora finally found himself, and Riku got to do badass Riku things. We just watched this like 20 seconds ago.
We did.
Anyways.
Except it's been a couple of days for these people.
True, actually. But, dude, you can tell your friend that I have an awesome new card game. Mm-hmm. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Or you could just play Pokemon.
I don't know where he has it, but I remember him telling me that in his closet he had a bunch of old card game, and it was a WrestleMania card game.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I really want to fucking play this.
I bet it's interesting.
I really want to play that. That sounds fucking dope as shit.
You know what's ironic? Honestly, for everyone out there who's like played Magic the Gathering and is like sick of what Magic the Gathering's doing, and you want to play another card game that isn't Magic the Gathering, go play the fucking Naruto card game.
There's so many.
It's probably as close as you're gonna get to a Magic card game without playing like Pokemon.
It's crazy though how much there's numerous different options to like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, there always has been.
There always has been.
But now there's a reason to leave.
Now I'm thinking there's going to be a huge exodus from people playing these games, and there's going to be a bunch more of these type of games coming out. Okay,
I know. Well, you're probably right about there going to be a huge exodus, but in the case of Magic the Gathering, there's already been like. They've been bleeding players for the past, 10 years.
Oh, yeah. So this is something I've been thinking that I've never done before, and I'm like, I was telling you this off the air show, but it's very true, which is, I don't see a reason to justify, shelling out hundreds of dollars on cards that I would use in my Magic the Gathering decks when I got a perfectly good printer. If you're gonna do the same thing I could do, I'll just do it myself and not charge $1,000 for 60 different random cards.
But they're not tournament legal, Derek.
Yeah, neither were the ones they printed.
Good point.
That's my huge thing.
Yeah, good point, actually.
That's my huge thing on it that I love. They're not tournament legal. Yeah, neither were the cards they printed.
Yeah, good point.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
So...
Yu-Gi-Oh's only printed 3 non-tournament legal cards.
Oh.
They were the Egyptian God cards, first prints.
Jiminy!
that were essentially just for
Collecting.
collecting purposes and were never meant to be played in the actual game. They're all cool though because they have the actual color borders, which are rare to the Egyptian guard cards only. So Obelisk has a blue border, which has never been used on any other Yu-Gi-Oh card. I have a copy actually.
Yeah, I think you showed me.
It's my
actually.
most
That's probably what it is.
it's my most expensive card. It's worth $800 now. It was worth like 200, and then shit got crazy with collectors.
But I love that shit. I love that shit. It was worth $200. Now it's $800.
$800, and I've seen graded versions go for as high as like $2,000.
I have a card, and I don't know if I still have it, but I had it for a while, and I was just like, oh, that's worth how much now? $50? I should just dump all of these products.
Dude, the one that gets me is like first release Blue Eyes. I think
I have a couple.
So back in the day, I had like 9 Blue Eyes White Dragon cards, and I'm pretty sure one of my neighbors stole them because he was a little shit. And
Tell me how you really feel.
I feel like if I saw him in real life and
Again?
confirmed that he did steal them, I'd beat the shit out of him. Because I know at least 6 of them were first edition print Blue Eyes, and each one of them individually is worth like $200 now.
I can see that.
So he essentially
Stole like
$1,200 from me. So
I get that.
I'd probably beat the shit out of him.
I have a not a Generation 1 Charizard card, but a Generation 2 Charizard card.
Yeah.
Which still, that's like $80.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because it's in one of my binders with all my Magic the Gathering cards. And my buddy flips through it and he's just like, I love that you have a Charizard in here. And I'm like, yeah, it's in there because it's actually worth something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Riku!
Sora!
Riku. Rebin.
Oh no, it's a nobody. Yep. Oh no, it's a Heartless.
See, the thing about like Yu-Gi-Oh! Too is because they reprint cards so much, people are like, oh, they reprint their cards, so their card value goes down like exponentially. I'm like, yeah, except for the first prints.
Yeah.
The first prints stay absurdly expensive.
It also makes it so, you can actually build standard, or not standard, but like tournament decks
Without
for
spending your entire
for
fucking
maybe
money.
$100
Dude,
instead of
Magic the
1,000.
Gathering. Magic the Gathering decks have gotten so expensive that you can now rent Magic the Gathering decks.
Yeah.
When I heard of that, I was just like, why would anyone play this game? Like, why does anyone play this? I would never...
So there's a thing called... There's different formats in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And, the only one I play is Commander. Because I like it. It's way more of a cooperative. Not cooperative is the right word, but like... You play it with more people, so I feel like, it's a little more fun to me. Then there's different ones like Modern, Standard, a bunch of other ones. And Modern is one of the formats that was played when I would go to the game stores to play. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, Chris, how much do you think some of these Modern decks were?
Probably in the thousands.
Yes.
I know card games. Probably in the thousands.
And I was like, I could build a Modern deck, and I looked at the price of some of the cards, and I went, no, I'm not. I'm not paying money. I'm not paying this much money.
You could easily right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, because to be fair, you kind of gotta know what you're doing a little bit and know where to be looking. But I could easily build like a tier 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck for probably $80. Like, and I mean like tier 1, which like for people who don't know, it would be a lower level tier 1 deck, but it'd still be in the tier 1 deck.
It'd be a very powerful deck.
It'd be a very powerful deck. Like, for those who don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is broken up into 4 or 5 sections, which is Tier 0, which is a deck so powerful that it beats everything.
I love that
and
shit.
you either play that deck or play a deck designed to beat that deck.
I love that shit.
Tier 0 format's bad. They also don't happen very often. It's like every 5 or 6-ish years we'll get like a tier 0 deck and everyone hates the format and people quit playing and then they ban a bunch of them and people come back because they're like, oh, the problem's full? Okay, I guess I'll play.
Problem solved!
Tier 1, which is how people want the format to be. Tier 2, which is how the format probably should be.
So,
and then Tier 3, and then there's Rogue. Which is rogue decks or decks that aren't good enough to be considered tier decks, but are good enough to beat tier decks, which doesn't make any sense, but fuck it. That's
so
how the
you've told me
community
about
works.
this deck before, and I would definitely play it if I played Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I debated building it just because I was just like, I want this as a real deck.
Yeah.
And it was the Dragon Maid deck.
Dragon Maids are awesome. The only thing with Dragon Maids is they're a waifu deck, and waifu decks always have a slightly higher tax on them. Waifus are taxed.
Of course, waifus are taxed.
Waifus
You
are
say this
always
like
taxed.
it's not a shocking fact.
That's true. I mean, if you wanted to build... to be fair, though, if you wanted to build a competitive tier deck that was a waifu deck, you build Sky Strikers.
No.
Because Sky Strikers is bullshit.
I would definitely just want to build the Dragon Maids because it is definitely a waifu deck.
Dragon Maids is a rogue deck, and I love playing it because it's a rogue deck. Because it's one of those decks that's like, it has every option for any situation you could need. If you draw it. You just gotta draw it, dude. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's what I love about that shit. You just gotta draw it.
You just gotta draw it, and it'll be great. Meanwhile, Sky Strikers is a deck that's literally designed around the idea of, like... So Sky Strikers is a deck that runs 6 monster cards, and then the rest of your 40-card deck is nothing but spells.
I love Spell Slinger deck almost.
Pretty much. And it's just fucking stupid. So, it got so bad that they had a limit... They have a card that's essentially a draw 2, right? It lets you pick a spell from your deck, and then it lets you draw 1 card. So it's essentially a draw 2. Which, for those who don't know, Pot of Greed has been banned for fucking 15 years for being a draw 2, and for some reason Sky Striker got 3 of them per deck.
What I love about that shit is just like... Card draw is like how you win any sort of card game.
Yeah, it's especially powerful in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's no waiting in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's no building up resources, there's no waiting for your turn marker to be turn 8 to play a card. You just play shit immediately.
Yeah.
So if you can draw cards, that means you can just play more fucking cards.
So, I feel there's certain deck types that I feel like if you played Magic, you'd play. And one of the combos is red-blue,
yeah.
and it's called Is It, which is just casting a bunch of fucking spells.
Yeah, there was...
And I feel like you would love that type of a deck.
I mean, probably. But, like... I don't have money for that. It's like, I don't have money for that. But it's true. Magic the Gathering is one of those games that you wait for someone to quit it, and then you buy all their cards for, like, a couple $100 because they're done with it.
Dude, I've debated giving you decks because I'm like, I think Chris would appreciate playing it, but I know he doesn't want to spend money on it.
Yeah, I mean, if someone loaned me a deck, I'd probably play it. For I would play it just to assert my dominance as the best card player in the universe, and then I would tell them how bad their card game is the entire time they made me play it.
Yeah,
because I'm a bad person.
I might actually lend you a deck at one point just to play it with you because I think you'd actually kind of enjoy how silly it can be.
There's like a lot of card games that me and you should play. Maybe we'll do it on the show at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to do it.
Figure out like a camera situation for it though. My problem with YouTube. Okay, so my problem with card games, right? Because you always see those videos online of people like playing card games. But I hate them. I don't know about you. Maybe you don't have this problem. Maybe you're a reasonable person, unlike me. But, like, whenever I see people playing card games, it's always, like, a camera that's, like, up at a tilt so you can kind of see the board, but you can see both players playing from the side. And it's just the worst fucking way to watch it, because it's impossible to tell what the fuck people are doing.
I've seen some people do it successfully, but the only way you can do it successfully is with a lot of editing.
It also doesn't help that, like, people who play card games are fucking nerds.
Yeah.
So they're antisocial, so you don't hear them talk much, or they just play things but don't
play
explain
this, do
what
that,
the fuck
do this,
they're
do
doing.
this.
Or they, like, mumble their shit so you have no idea what's going on. Is the reason why I can watch a digital card game, but I can't watch a real card game, because the game is just like, pop up, here's the thing that is doing the thing.
That's
like,
what you have to do with the types of games. With card games, you need to have an image of the thing show up
Yeah.
so people can read it.
Like, it really...
And
like,
it takes a lot of work to do those type of videos.
Yeah, it's a ton of work.
I do like watching them when they do it right, but it's a lot of work.
Because I watch, like... Because I'm someone who plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they just had a tournament... By the way, there's a new Tier 0 deck. I forgot to mention that. Which is the first one, I think, in, like, 5-ish years, 4-ish years. But I'm watching the tournament, and it's literally just a face-down camera on the board, and they're, like, making their plays and doing all their shit, and I'm just sitting there, like... I understand this card game. I know what they're doing. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Because I haven't seen any of these cards yet. So I'm just sitting there, like... I'm watching them play cards, and then just, like... They'll, like, play a card and then throw a bunch of cards to the graveyard, and then, like, look through the graveyard, and then pull a thing out of their graveyard and play that card, and throw more cards to their graveyard, and then, like... And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
That's part of the reason why I can't... I'm so out of the loop in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can't even, like...
Yeah.
comprehend any of it.
So I went and looked it up because I was so like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I went and looked it up, found out it's a Tier 0 deck, and then watched an actual, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Emulator play it, and when you see the rules popping up to see what everything's doing, you're like, oh, I understand what the fuck this deck does. Literally all the deck does is you play a card, your entire point is to try and mill your entire deck, and then activate all your stupidly broken graveyard effects to summon just millions of monsters onto the field.
Well, yeah, that's what
and I'm like, okay, that makes it very easy to understand. But, like, watching that as an actual card game is impossible to follow. It's just like, you have no idea what the fuck is going on. Especially if both players are playing the same deck, because they mill each other, both decks at the same time. So they'll mill shit and get graveyard effects, and then their opponent will also get graveyard effects that can activate on your opponent's turn, so they're both, like, just shuffling through their graveyard playing shit, and, like, countering shit.
So fun.
And I'm like, I have no... So they banned, like, a shit ton of those cards in the OCG. Here's my biggest problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I always talk shit about Magic, but, like, time to talk shit about Yu-Gi-Oh! The biggest problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! is Yu-Gi-Oh! needs to figure out its fucking format. The fact that there is an OCG
that is something I will say.
And a TCG, and they're completely different rules and ban lists depending on what country you're in, is fucking nonsense.
What?
Yeah, the OCG is the Japanese rule set, and it has completely different banned and limited cards than the TCG, which is the American rule set.
What?
Which is why Master Duel is a fucking train wreck of a game.
That's insane.
Because Master Duel is the OCG tier list... I mean, the OCG ban list with a couple things from the TCG ban list. So Master Duel is its own fucking standard format now, which has nothing to do with either OCG or TCG.
That is insane to me.
So it is obnoxious to play the game because you can't just be like, oh, this deck on Master Duel is really good, I should make it for a real-life tournament, except you can't because half the cards in the fucking Master Duel aren't in the fucking TCG format.
That is insane to me.
We also get cards at different rates. There is like 50 cards that have only released in America and 50 cards that have only released in Japan.
That's so annoying.
With no overlap.
That is so annoying.
Like, it's not even like, oh, it's a couple random cards. Like, for
like
America,
staples.
There's like a couple random cards that we've never got from like the older formats because they were just so low powered at that point no one would want them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, right? Why they just skipped them, because we didn't get the card game till like 2 years later. Kind of makes sense. The problem is that they released full archetypes that can't be played in Japan or America. Complete deck ideas that just don't exist in the two countries. Like, there's a deck series called Burning Abyss, which is essentially the idea of Journey to the Center of the Earth / like Hell, where an explorer goes to Hell and finds monsters and like does all this journalist shit, and fucking
that's insane.
And like it's this big ass fucking archetype, and it's a whole deck that revolves around this mechanic that Japan just never got. They just don't have it.
I love that shit. That's insane.
It's fucking nuts. I'm like, why would you fucking do this?
That is insane.
Like, just release both cards at the same time in both formats.
I know that Magic tried to do that at once. They released some decks that were only Chinese decks.
Oh, great.
And let me just say they didn't do well.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible system.
And the other thing is these cards weren't even very powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would they even make that?
Yeah, no, it's like the worst way to do it. The problem is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been doing it pretty much since the game came out, so there's no fix at this point.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't just fix the problem now, it's just so wrapped into the fucking... The only way they could fix it is if Japan just released these special Konami released special boxes that just had all the non-printed cards in them to both regions, and then we're just like, we've decided to unify the tier. That's why the bans list are different, though. Because we have entire decks in America that just don't exist in Japan.
That's insane.
So there's cards that just don't exist in the OCG that are on the ban list in the TCG.
That's crazy.
So they're completely different tier list, and they're completely different ban list. And there's like... so yeah, they have... So this has not just caused like completely different ban list. This has caused completely different tier list. Because there's tier... Like, Burning Abyss was a tier 1 deck that never existed in Japan. So it literally can't be tier 1 because it didn't exist. So they had a totally different tier 1 list than our list.
That's crazy.
It is fucking wacky. It is the dumbest shit in the fucking universe.
I think we pause for this one.
Yeah, for this though, we gotta call it here. We'll pick it up in the next part. We'll see you guys then. Peace.